today's video, we're going to be trying to predict who is going to dethrone every single current active champion in the WWE today. And we're going to be looking at the main roster as well as all of the champions down in NXT as well. This is a monthly series that gives us the opportunity to stop, look around, analyze the current state of feuds and where they can go. And now, more than ever, things are crazy as we're in the final stretch to WrestleMania, and somehow we've had a whole bunch of championship changes at a time when usually no championship changes take place. Now, because it's WrestleMania season, I'm going to be doing this video here at the start of the month, but then I'm also going to be doing one pretty much immediately after WrestleMania once the smoke settles from the show. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm really confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And we're going to be going crazy in this road to WrestleMania, so make sure that you're subscribed. But if daily content isn't enough, come over to the Patreon, patreon.com/SatiZap. Over there, you're going to get so much more extra content that we never upload here on YouTube because we use footage with the Patreon videos, so they would just get blocked here because of copyright. So go check it out, patreon.com/SatiZap, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Let's start the video. Let's kick things off by talking about the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, these tag titles are in a bit of a holding pattern. Right now, they don't really seem to have any sort of visible track as to where they're going. It doesn't seem like they're going to make it onto WrestleMania. There doesn't even really seem to be another team going after these championships. In the last video, the champions were Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, one of said championships that changed hands when no one was expecting them to. But here we are, and it was cool when they won the championships. However, unfortunately, since winning the championships, it seems like any women's tag team that was a viable option to go after them has just somehow disappeared or dissolved, and there doesn't seem to be a women's tag team division at all on the main roster. And because there isn't a women's tag team division on the main roster, that was the reason why in last month's video, I suggested that it might go down to NXT, that the team of Zarya and Sol Ruca might bring the women's tag team championships to NXT for a change. And I said this because it kind of looked like the NXT women's division was going through a bit of a metamorphosis, especially when it came to women's tag teams. We had women's tag teams forming left, right, and center down in NXT, and it kind of looked like they were maybe shaping the women's tag team division in NXT to take on the women's tag team championships. And to me, it made sense because on the main roster, the women's tag team championships kind of played the role of the mid-card championships, but now that we have the women's IC championship and the women's US championship, there maybe isn't room for that women's tag team division playing the role of the mid-card title on the main roster anymore. So that's why I suggested somebody from NXT, but it doesn't seem like this is going to be the case. It does look like the NXT women's division has shaped itself to be a stronger competitor in like the landscape of women's tag team wrestling, but it seems to be so that they can go after the TNA women's tag team championships because now those have entered the ecosystem of the women's NXT tag team like environment. So because of that, now I'm starting to think that the women's tag titles aren't going to go down to NXT and instead are still going to stay on the main roster. But again, when you look at the landscape of women's tag teams right now, there's really like none. Like there's the Secret Hervis with Piper Niven and Alba Fire. That could be an option. We just saw the reintroduction of the Party Girls KC2, but that's kind of it. So because of that, I'm going to go in a different realm and I'm going to predict one, the formation of a tag team, and two, I'm going to predict that once that tag team gets formed, they're going to be the ones that wins the women's tag team championships, and that's going to be the team of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross from the Wyatt Six. It looked like before Alexa Bliss kind of disappeared from TV after Elimination Chamber that there was going to be something in place that reunited the Wyatt family environment and ecosystem with Alexa Bliss. But because of delays with people in the Wyatt Six being able to come back from injury, it's also delayed Alexa Bliss's push on the main roster. So it looks like they might just be holding off the Wyatt Six until after WrestleMania, which would explain as to why Liv Morgan might be going after the women's Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. At least that's what it's looking like, and why the women's tag team championships might miss WrestleMania altogether. But once this team, if it ever does come to fruition, I think that they would be perfect to go after Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan because, well, they tend to haunt the people that are just really evil, and Liv Morgan has been pretty evil as of late. So I think this would be a good combination and a good nostalgic reunion of the early 2020s tag team that was Alexa Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Again, there's nothing to go off of right now, so this is purely almost like complete speculation at the moment. Sticking with the tag team championships on the main roster, I'm not really going to change my tune here. In the last video, the champions were the War Raiders, and kind of similarly to the women's tag team division, there didn't really seem to be a breathing, viable Raw men's tag team division either, but now it's slowly starting to form. We have American Made in the mix. We have the New Day in the mix. We now added New Catch Republic. A-Town Down Under is there, so it does look like they have the pieces ready to go so that they can actually hit the on button on the Raw tag team division. But I don't think that the on button is going to get turned on until the tag team championships change hands to the New Day. I do believe that they are the best available option to be your next tag team champions, and in all honest opinions, they probably just should be the World Tag Team Champions, considering they did one of the biggest things that you could have possibly done as a tag team like the New Day at the end of 2024, turn heel and kick out Big E. Like, you need to really accentuate one of the biggest heel turns of the year with something big, and I feel like for the New Day specifically, it's not going to get bigger than Tag Team Championship Gold. So I'm sticking with this New Day, your next World Tag Team Champions, and it looks like they've got their match. We don't know that it's going to be a WrestleMania or Raw after WrestleMania or sometime before WrestleMania, but they beat New Catch Republic, which it seems like it's earned them an opportunity. They already went face to face with the War Raiders. I've been making this prediction for months, and it looks like it's finally going to come to fruition here. Next up, the Smackdown side of things, which is like the complete opposite of Monday Night Raw, because this tag team division is the healthiest that it's ever been. We have 5 awesome tag teams that I've been dubbing the Terrific 10 because they've just been absolutely amazing, and they've really brought back this tag team division from basically non-existent and dead to being one of the most exciting things going on in the mid-card on the main roster right now. This is also one of those championships that had a change almost seemingly out of nowhere as well, because I thought that DIY, who were the champions in the making of the last video, were just going to take these things to WrestleMania and have a big 5-way tag team ladder match or whatever it might be, big tornado tag team match for those tag titles at WrestleMania. But no, they lost the tag titles. And in the last video, I predicted that they would eventually lose the tag titles to the Street Profits, who came with a new demeanor, a new backstage promo look. They now have a new entrance theme, but I didn't think it was going to be this early, because they did win the WWE Tag Team Championships and are your new WWE Tag Team Champions. So I was right. This is great, but it happened much earlier than I was expecting, because the way that I thought that things were going to go, I thought that every team, the Terrific 10, was going to get a reign as tag team champions. That to me kind of was what was being written on the wall in the tea leaves that I was reading. I thought it was going to go Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, Street Profits, then Pretty Deadly, and then maybe Los Garzas. However, they just beat Pretty Deadly clean in London of all places. So now I don't think that the next up is going to be Pretty Deadly. I still think Pretty Deadly will eventually win Tag Team Gold in this rotation of championship musical chairs. But now I think the team that maybe has the best beef against the Street Profits, that maybe should be the one to dethrone them, and call me crazy, I think it's Los Garzas. Los Garzas have been amazing. They have been maybe the best in-ring performers out of the Terrific 10. They have earned the opportunity to actually be World Tag Team Champions, and I don't think that this would be a handout. I don't think that this would just be because we're just rotating for the sake of rotating championship gold. I think they would be great tag team champions, and they have a great cause to go after the Street Profits, because it was the Street Profits that took them out, because Pretty Deadly lied about who it was that took them out. So I kind of feel sympathetic for Los Garzas, and I would kind of pop like pretty hard if Los Garzas somehow walk out of WrestleMania as the WWE Tag Team Champions. I think it's a little bit of a reach, but I don't think it's an insane reach either. I think it was going to be between Los Garzas and Pretty Deadly, and Pretty Deadly already lost clean, by the way, so I'm going to take Los Garzas here. Oh, that's my WWE champion! Roman. That's insane. That's actually insane strength. Let's go. Oh. Let's see.
She didn't catch her.
Oh.
God. Bloodline rules, bro.
It's going to be Bloodline rules. That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club WrestleMania Edition Week 1, available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week and until WrestleMania 41, you'll be voting on some of the most popular WrestleMania matches of all time. This week, we're looking at the WrestleMania 32 Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania 38. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge at WrestleMania 37 for the Universal Championship. Triple H versus Sting at WrestleMania 31. And the once-in-a-lifetime match between John Cena and The Rock at WrestleMania 28. You'll be getting this and so much more, like the Raw reviews and Smackdown reviews with footage so you can see what we're talking about, the currently ongoing and almost finished Undertaker WrestleMania match watch-along, the currently ongoing Royal Rumble match watch-along, and so much more. All of that is available on Patreon, and it's stuff that we can never post here because it would just get blocked due to copyright. But I'm confident that if you even give the Patreon 1 month, if you try it for 1 month only, you will fall in love with all of the content that we post in the community over there. So go check it out. I'll put a direct link to the Patreon in the description of this video, as well as a link in the pinned comment. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support, but let's get you back to the video now. Now, the NXT Tag Team Division, and this thing, even though they've got an awesome pair of champions, maybe the greatest NXT Tag Team Champions of all time, who are still your Tag Team Champions right now in Fraxium. Fraxium is fine. I'm a MILF, man. I love Fraxium. It just doesn't really help that they have no division, at least a division that is worthy of dethroning Fraxium, in my humble opinion. And because there was no proper NXT men's tag team division or a tag team that really looked poised or strong enough to take out Fraxium, that's why I went to TNA and I ended up going with the Hardy Boys. But I'm kind of changing my tune here altogether, and I don't think it's going to be the Hardy Boys. They did have a championship match, which it happened, before I made this prediction, where the Hardy Boys defended their TNA Tag Team Championships, but I don't think they're going to be going after NXT Championship Gold. Instead, I'm going to go in a different route. I still think that the NXT Tag Team division is too weak. So I'm going to go with Dark State, the new faction of NXT that seems to be taking over everything. They're taking out everyone. They're taking out Oba. They're taking out the main event scene. And they also took out, that's right, Fraxium. So I do believe that at some point, maybe a pair from this team is going to branch off and go after the NXT Tag Team Championships, maybe at NXT Stand and Deliver. Here's the thing. The story of Fraxium losing the Tag Team Championships is not really about who beats them. It's about how they break up, because it's always been Fraxium is fine until eventually they're not going to be fine. Sticking with NXT, let's talk about the NXT Women's North American Championship. In the last video, the champion was La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer, which, by the way, some people in the comments are like, you're pronouncing it wrong. No, I literally speak Spanish. I'm from her part of the world. That's how it's pronounced. Anyway, Stephanie Vaquer, I'm sorry that I know how to pronounce it properly, and I'm sorry if it makes me sound pretentious that I can pronounce it properly. I said in the last video that she would eventually drop the NXT Women's North American Championship to Jordynne Grace. And we've got this interweaving web of things that are now even more interwoven now that Stephanie Vaquer is a double champion, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So Jordynne Grace is in the mix, but it looks like she's going after the different title that Stephanie Vaquer has, not the Women's North American Championship. We also had Jada Parker go after the Women's North American Championship, actually get a championship match, lose, but she lost because of the involvement of Jordynne Grace. So I do believe that Jada Parker is still firmly in the mix. And in my opinion, when I look at the women's NXT roster, I feel like she's the best poised to take a big leap forward if they were to decide to give her the Women's North American Championship. So if I'm running NXT, which I'm not, I would put this title on Jada Parker. Sticking with the mid-card realm, let's talk about the Women's United States Championship, where the current champion is Chelsea Green, and she was the champion in the last video. And honestly, not much has changed here, and I'm not really going to change my tune. The biggest thing that's changed with Chelsea Green is now that the Secret Service is now like a proper team that's, protecting her. So it's like a proper faction now, like the Chelsea Green cabinet. So it does make her more of a daunting force, somebody that's going to be more difficult to dethrone. In the last video, I suggested perhaps Zelina Vega, and we actually saw Zelina Vega lose to Piper Niven, a loss that no one was expecting, because a lot of people were expecting Zelina Vega to kind of take the leap forward by beating the members of the Secret Service and then eventually getting a match with Chelsea Green. She did lose the match because of shenanigans, and a lot of people are kind of counting out Zelina Vega at this point point, I'm not. I'm still on the Zelina Vega bandwagon, and I do think she's still going to be our next women's United States champion, so I'm keeping this as is. Women's Intercontinental Championship. We haven't had any movement on this since we were crowned a brand new champion earlier on in the year with Lyra Valkyria. She's been a fighting champion, although a champion that hasn't really been given good storylines for said championship, but whenever she does defend the championship, they're more often than not banger matches. Last month, I suggested that because she lost to Bayley in the lead up to Elimination Chamber, that maybe this could eventually lead to a match between Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, where Bayley says, hey, I beat you, I should get a chance at the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And it looks like a month later, it's actually happening. We are scheduled to have Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And based how things have been going recently in this road to WrestleMania, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually change the titles this close to WrestleMania. On top of that, if there is a title that could benefit from added prestige, it is the Women's Intercontinental Champion. And Bayley, to me, would be a perfect representative of being a legend that helps elevate that championship. This might not be the route that they go, because we do have Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan just kind of waiting in the wings, which might cause, some sort of interruption in this match, which could lead to something bigger at WrestleMania. We shall see, but my earlier prediction is slowly built up and is now actually in the crosshairs as a possibility, so I'm sticking with this Bayley. The North American Championship. In the last video, the new champion had literally just been crowned, like a day before. It was Shawn Spears, and when I looked at the landscape of NXT, I didn't think it was going to be Tony D'Angelo again or anybody from the family. I looked at the men's mid-card and I wasn't like underwhelmed, but I just didn't see anybody that really made sense or would truly benefit from being given the North American Championship. The only one that I saw was Ricky Saints, who had just debuted in NXT. It looks like this is the route that they're going, and I don't know why I wasn't more confident in this, considering they have the AEW connection, and having AEW versus AEW, former people, is in itself a very lucrative match that people want to see. So I am sticking with Ricky Saints, and I think this match is going to happen at Stand and Deliver. They're already teasing it. The storyline has already started as of a couple of weeks ago. So it looks like this prediction that I might be made a little bit too early is also now taking shape, and it's also in the crosshairs. So I'm sticking with Ricky Saints here. The United States Championship, and goddamn, I couldn't have been more wrong, because in the last video, the champion was Shinsuke Nakamura. Please don't go and watch that last video, because the match against LA Knight was already scheduled to happen like literally 3 days after I uploaded that video. And I decided to upload it before that match because I said pretty much, and I quote from that video, there's no way in hell that they're going to take the championship off of Shinsuke Nakamura this close to WrestleMania. It doesn't make sense. LA Knight is not going to win. We're going to have shenanigans from the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu, something. Turns out that I was entirely wrong. In the last video, I suggested Jimmy Uso was going to be the one to eventually dethrone Nakamura at a WrestleMania match. That is not what ended up happening, folks. In fact, I probably wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Uso, Big Jimbo BJ, now misses WrestleMania altogether after what was close to murder at Monday Night Raw in front of Jey Uso. So I think he's out of the picture, but the champion is now LA Knight, who did dethrone Shinsuke Nakamura in that match when I thought that he had no chance. Now we're in a bit of a reset with this division. Shinsuke Nakamura losing that championship, giving it to LA Knight, really just kind of served as an off-on switch with this division, because now we have storylines that they're trying to build from the ground up as we go to WrestleMania. I think that this is going to be the ladder match, the big car wreck, where we have 5-6 different dudes in there, and that's how they take the championship off of LA Knight. And I think if WWE is brave, they're gonna go with a really bold decision here, and I'm gonna lock it in, because if it happens, that would be awesome. I could see Rey Fenix. Who is about to debut before WrestleMania. That alone is weird. To have somebody debut this close to WrestleMania, you would expect, if you're going to debut them this close before WrestleMania, that you're gonna have them on the WrestleMania card, right? Otherwise, you would have just debuted them after WrestleMania. So I'm expecting Rey Fenix to get something at WrestleMania, and the only something that I see that makes sense for Rey Fenix is to be added into a multi-man match for the United States Championship, probably a ladder match. And if it's a ladder match, I like the odds of the dude that can fly all over the place in the ring. I'm going to take Rey Fenix. The Intercontinental Championship. I thought this was going to change hands. So we had Braun Breaker as the champion, and we were having this crazy wave of championship changes, and I kind of bought into the hype. And I knew I shouldn't have bought into the hype of Finn Balor. I knew I got burned on this, but I did suggest maybe Finn Balor would be the one to dethrone Braun Breaker. That did not happen, although Finn Balor is still in the equation for the Intercontinental Championship. So it's not as if this is all null and void and that Finn Balor doesn't have an opportunity, because it looks like they're going to be doing a fatal four-way match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship between Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Speaking of Dominic Mysterio, you're damn right I'm going with Dominic Mysterio. Yeah, the easy choice is Penta. Yeah, the easy choice is to go with Braun Breaker retaining. Nah. It's going to be Dominic Mysterio, Mr. Humble himself, who has been doing everything in his power to prop up his brother Finn Balor. But now it is time, thanks to his wonderful, amazing woman in Liv Morgan, who is going to convince him to take this championship opportunity and get him this championship opportunity. I think once the dust settles, he is going to be your new Intercontinental Champion, and you're all gonna love it. The Women's NXT Championship. Let's talk about this bad boy real quick. So in the last video, Julia was the champion, and then she went into NXT Roadblock to defend the championship against the person that I predicted she would lose it to, in Stephanie Vaquer. Now, I've been predicting Stephanie Vaquer defeating Julia for this championship like for several months now, for several iterations of this video, but I suggested that it would happen at Stand and Deliver. Instead, it happened at NXT Roadblock, and the rumor mill is that Julia was injured, so they needed to get the title off of her, and there was honestly no better choice to put the title on than Stephanie Vaquer. Here's the thing. Now, it looks like she has a Stand and Deliver feud and program with Jordynne Grace for said championship. I don't see a world where Stephanie Vaquer, when healthy, loses this championship that quickly after winning it. Yeah, you could say, well, look, Julia lost it quickly, but it was because of an injury, and I don't think that's going to be the case with Stephanie Vaquer. So I don't think that Jordynne Grace, even if she does go after this championship at Stand and Deliver, is going to dethrone La Primera Stephanie Vaquer. In fact, I think it'll be Julia. When Julia comes back, I think NXT is going to want to give Julia her proper championship reign, a reign that should have lasted more than just the month that it lasted. I think that maybe somewhere down the line, Heat Wave, American Bash, No Mercy, whatever it might be, when Julia is ready to come back, I think she's going to be the one to dethrone Stephanie Vaquer. So I think we're talking about months from now. The Women's World Championship was the championship that really just signified to the world anything can freaking happen in this road to WrestleMania, because in the last video, literally one day after, we had Io Sky become the Women's World Champion, and that blew my mind, because I told all of you guys that there was no world where Rhea Ripley was going to lose the World Championship this close to WrestleMania, and now we've got this crazy hoopla into a potential triple threat match between Io, Bianca, and Rhea Ripley. One of the better storylines right now. It's a little bit convoluted, but it's very fun, and I know it's going to lead to a really great match. In fact, it's a match in a program that so many people are kind of petitioning and vying for this to be the night one main event instead of Roman, Punk, and Seth. I'm excited for this match. I don't know that I can with confidence say that Io Sky is going to retain at WrestleMania. I think she could. I think I could see a world where Bianca and Rhea Ripley just hate each other so much and they don't pay enough attention to the real threat, which is Io freaking Sky, for God's sake. I do think that once the smoke settles and we can finally see through the fog of war, once this triple threat match is done, I think that Bianca Belair is going to be Women's World Champion. I think they're going to keep her WrestleMania streak going on. I think that she's going to take this championship and defend it against Naomi, who is just has transformed herself into this amazing character, and then eventually defending against Jade Cargill, which is the big match that many of us want to see, or just a one-on-one match with Rhea Ripley, which many of us want to see as well. But I do think once WrestleMania is all said and done, Bianca Belair is going to be your Women's World Champion. The WWE Women's Championship. I'm not really changing my tune here, okay, fellas? I'm staying strong with what I've been saying for months and months and months at this point. The champion in the last video, and still your champion, is Tiffany Stratton. WWE has not done a great job at building Tiffany Stratton and making her feel like an actual genuine threat to Charlotte Flair. She feels like a massive underdog, and that's crazy to me when, you know, you're the champion, considering they haven't even had her beat Nia Jax clean with a pin one-on-one. The only way she was able to beat her was with a cash-in or in a tag team match with the help of Trish Stratus, all right? So come on, help build the champion here a little bit. I'm sticking with what I've been saying all along. Death taxes and Charlotte Flair winning championships after she comes back from injury. We already took the big leap, all right? The big leap was her returning from injury. Then leap 2 was her winning the Rumble. And I think it's now time to finish leap 3 with her winning the championship. And she has just been so dominant and has just looked like the bigger star between the two, unfortunately, in this build So I'm sticking with Charlotte Flair here. The NXT Championship. In the last video, and probably until the end of time, the champion is and probably will forever be Obafemi. So I don't think that we're going to have anybody just traditionally beat Obafemi. So let's look at some different options of people that might be able to dethrone Obafemi. We have Omni-Man. If you're a fan of Invincible, you know that this is one of the strongest beings in this universe. He is one of the most senior Viltrumites. Unfortunately, he's not even the strongest Viltrumite. In fact, Battle Beast could probably absolutely mollywop this dude across the galaxy. So I don't think that if this guy can't even be the strongest of his race as a Viltrumite, that he can even take on the ruler in Obafemi. I think this is a joke. I think Obafemi clears. Charlotte Flair, only in a world where Charlotte Flair injures herself, and if she were to come back and want to go after the NXT Championship, I'm sorry, Obafemi is cooked. Death Taxes and Charlotte Flair winning championships. We also have Light Yagami from Death Note. Here's the thing, Light Yagami would absolutely end Obafemi. It's over. If he has the Death Note, in case you don't know, if Light Yagami writes your name in the Death Note, you die within 30 seconds. However, here's the, wrestling technicalities. The Death Note is a foreign object. And if Light Yagami were to win using the Death Note, which is the only way that he can beat Obafemi, the title doesn't change hands in a disqualification, and the Death Note would certainly get Light Yagami disqualified. So the only way that this works is if it's a no disqualification match. So if I'm Oba, I wouldn't agree to that because that's the only way Light Yagami wins. Brock Lesnar, if you know, you know. And then we have Bruce Almighty. If you haven't seen that movie, this is a highly underrated Jim Carrey movie where he's given the powers of literal God for a week and he can do anything that he wants. And one of those things could be to take the championship off of Obafemi. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Javon Evans. What's funny is that I said Javon Evans in like a year, but now Javon Evans is actually in a triple threat storyline that I think will lead to a triple threat match between Javon, Trick Williams, and Obafemi at Stand and Deliver. I think there's a chance that this might happen as early as Stand and Deliver, but I don't think so. I think that Oba is going to retain, but I do still think somewhere down the line, the best choice, the best underdog to go after Oba is still Javon. The World Heavyweight Championship. Then the last video, and still your champion, is Gunther, the ring general. In last video, I reluctantly said Jey Uso. Yeah, they're going to put the championship on Jey Uso, even though this run as the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner has been absolutely booty, and the build-up to their match at WrestleMania has been absolute dog water. But now, after what we just saw on Monday Night Raw with the murder of Jimmy Uso, his brother, I'm motivated. I'm down to root for Jey. They saved this storyline. I'm sticking with this. I think especially after what happened, Jey's gotta win. And finally, the WWE Undisputed Championship. I'm also not really budging here. We have Cody Rhodes, the champion in the last video, still the champion. And in the last video, I suggested John Cena. I will continue to say John Cena until I actually see it not happening, because I just don't see WWE pulling the trigger on the biggest thing they could have pulled the trigger on, the John Cena heel turn, and not making him the champion. I feel like you gotta make John Cena the big bad of the WWE after turning him heel, and the best way to do that is also by giving him the championship in this big bad heel run. I'm sticking with John Cena here. All right, folks, thank you so very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.